Hello everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. Let me share what we've learned from our valued customers about the challenges they face in their day-to-day work. Security teams are overwhelmed. Workloads are increasing. Security departments are often taking on additional work from other departments since they are there 24/7 anyway. It's as hard as ever to find and maintain qualified staff. In case of a leave, all the others must take over the tasks, and every new hire requires training and puts even more load on the teams. So regardless of the situation, professionalism and consistency is always expected, but that's becoming ever challenging. We all know the public's opinion on an organization can have massive business impact, and leadership teams dread negative PR relating to security. So what's missing? Where are security teams losing valuable time and energy? Today, countless spreadsheets are used to keep track of people and equipment, sometimes even pen and paper or whiteboards and sticky notes. Often different software tools are used that don't connect to each other and that aren't really made for security. This creates a lot of overhead. Things easily fall between the cracks. Just to give you one example, we've seen dispatchers having to log on to 7 different software tools, open countless spreadsheets, just even to start their shift and start working. Communication is often done just via radio. Things are easily missed in the chatter, and typically officers in the field have little information about what's happening overall, which makes it really hard to collaborate. And then, coming to the end of a shift where reports need to be generated, we've seen hours and hours of mundane copy-paste action from different systems and spreadsheets, which often is very time-consuming and, of course, error-prone. So, in a nutshell, there has to be a better way for security teams to manage their work. And as engineers, with all our enthusiasm and relentless drive to innovate, to make things better, we went on a mission. A mission to help our customers streamline, manage, and ultimately perfect their workflows. Automate what can be automated, and assist the human where needed. We analyzed the security market for existing tools and systems and found that there is nothing really adequate out there today to manage work in a security department. There is lots of science regarding work management out there, which we at Genetec really love and geek out on, and also many tools in other industries, but none that would really fit a security department's reality. So, it became clear quickly what we needed to do. We set out to build the security industry's first dedicated work management system, a tool that helps our customers reach excellence in their operations, in all their day-to-day workflows and activities, ultimately helping them have a smooth every day. I'm Stefan Suter, and I would like to proudly present the latest addition to our unified SaaS offering, Genetec Operations Center, work management built for security. And now, please welcome Clint Hayes, and let's dive in. Hello there, good to see you. All right, so Clint, tell us about Operations Center.
Well, Operations Center was designed to help people do their work. That sounds pretty simple, but there's a lot of challenges that make that more difficult than it should be. Our system was built to make work into actionable tasks for the proper groups to respond as quickly as possible with the right resources to do that work. And we want to ensure that everything is documented and recorded. This means we must help teams communicate about things that are new from the requests, but we also need to update them about the status of work so they understand what's happening in real time. Improving the communication makes working together easier for the team. And since security departments must be able to work regularly with other departments and even outside organizations, collaboration is a huge step forward.
Let me share a bit of background about Operations Center. So Operations Center is built on a massively scalable cloud-based architecture. Data security and data integrity was top of mind while architecting, leading to a unique patent-pending blockchain-based data storage. It's also designed to be completely open, giving access to every function in the API, which allows seamless integration into any ecosystem, and of course, native integrations to our own Security Center SaaS, as well as Security Center on-premise systems via plugin. Everything is designed with ease of use in mind, from our web apps to our mobile apps, but without sacrificing the power to adapt and customize the system to the customer's needs, meaning the workflows, the team structure, the SOPs, reports, all the way to the KPIs. But Clint, maybe you can give us a few examples of use cases that would be addressed with Operations Center.
Yeah. So with Operations Center, we're supporting customers through tasks like dispatching their security personnel, managing how they do their patrols, their posts, and their daily incident reports. That then also enables us to go beyond and support them with their investigations and helping manage their workload, get the information to the right case managers. But even on the system side, Operations Center is supporting deployments and system commissioning, where we can bring everybody together on the project. And then we also provide work ticketing, so it makes it easier for end users to keep their systems up and running.
So, before we jump into the product demo, let's cover a few basic concepts first. Operations Center is a visual tool. The basic concept is a board that represents a workflow in its steps from left to right. It could be as simple as to do, doing, done, but maybe there's a review stage or a pending stage in between, really depending on the way a team decides to work. On this board, you will see cards that represent work. That could be a task, could be a project, a job that needs to be done. And on this card, you will see the what, the where, and especially the who, alongside with any other relevant information. Of course, this basic concept can be extended and customized to whatever makes sense to the respective team. So let's dive in.
Perfect. All right, so now that we have Operations Center pulled up, let me quickly explain what we're looking at. Starting off, when a user logs into the system, they see the boards that they have access to. Within Operations Center, a customer can have an unlimited amount of boards, and a board, again, is a workspace that represents the type of work being done by that team. What we're going to begin with is going into our security dispatching board. So as I pull this up, I want to explain a few concepts first. When we're out with our customers and we're seeing how they're working today, we've noticed that in the dispatch environment, there's a lot of different actions happening. The dispatch team sitting in the control center has to maintain awareness on information going through the video system, the access control system, but also maybe building management and fire alarms. They also may be having to monitor email inboxes. They listen for phones, they have radios. There's a lot of information that has to flow across that team. And they need to get that information out to the officers in the field. Right now, that presents a large struggle. With Operations Center, we want to make that information accessible to the whole team in real time, and we do that in a visual way. So in this board, we have three main sections that are supporting those challenges. At the top, we have an area for information that the team needs to keep track of. That could be information about disregards on maybe alarms or doors. Could also be areas for their trespass list. This allows the team to take that information, store it, and make it visible and accessible for the team even while they're out in the field. Additionally, on the board, we're supporting obviously the dispatch work. What we're showing here is, going back to Stefan's point earlier about process, a three-step process. Calls or incidents or requests, these types of works come in and they're logged in the system. As we assign the work, they progress from the left to the right. This indicates to the team the status of that work. And also, when we look at cards, we see relevant information, such as what type of work is this? What category? We see where is that? Who's working on it? and maybe other information like attachments for pictures or progress. Additionally, we're also managing where we have officers on a post or doing patrols. This way, as the dispatcher is responding to new requests, they're responding to new incidents, they have an understanding of where their resources are in the field. If we go into a card, this is again a representation of work, and this contains all the relevant information about that work. In Operations Center, everything begins with the concept of categories. This allows us to specify to the team what specific type of work is this on that board. And in a security dispatch environment, there's a wide range of tasks, ranging from mundane activities like a escort or an unlock request. But they range also to the larger critical incidents, missing children, bomb threats, fire alarms. So within Operations Center, the customer can define their types of work, and when that work item is created, we start displaying the information in the fields that are going to be relevant for the team to complete that task. Within Operations Center, all of the details that the team needs to gather, such as the time that the report came in, maybe any information relevant about how did the event begin, how did it occur, who was involved, and their narrative statements. All of this information is collected inside of the card. As our team is working on this, we want to provide guidance. We can take a playbook or standard operating procedures from the customer and define that based on the category of work. What this means is, additionally, when that work item is created, we're giving guidance to the team so they can understand how to go out and respond to that event. As the work is assigned and dispatched, and the work is being conducted in the field, those updates are shown in real time back to the dispatch side, but also to the entire team. As work is progressing, the whole team is aware of that. This allows the different groups to collaborate. The team that's sitting inside the control room has a different capability for work. They need to be able to support the officers in the field, but the officers in the field also need to understand what's happening, and they may need to have additional resources sent out to assist them. From the field, officers can take pictures, upload them directly into the card. This information is now readily available to the team in the field, so just like Murphy's Law dictates, incidents are going to happen outside the field of view of dispatch. So now we can bring that situation awareness back into the team. We also have communication. Because again, typically we see officers in the field are reliant solely on radio, and oftentimes the environment's noisy. It's hard to hear. So there's communication channels inside of the card. As work is progressing, when that work gets to the point of completion, a report can be generated directly from the card. As Operations Center is documenting everything that happens in the system, we know the who, the when, and the what. All of those details that have been outlined and specified are being captured. And then a report can quickly be generated from this work without the need of a secondary system. So I want to walk through the process of a call intake. If we're a dispatcher and we receive a phone call, in Operations Center, we can just create a new card. And in this, as we're going through the process, we can start inputting information, gathering it from the phone. So let's say somebody reports a missing child. As we go through, and as the dispatcher selects the category, we start providing the list of fields for them to ask information on. What can they collect and gather starting this type of work? Fields like, where is this event? What's happening? Who reported this? All of these are information that needs to be shared out to the team. When the work item is created, now the whole department receives a notification. There's a new work item. This promotes faster response time. In Operations Center, a dispatcher can take a call and assign this to resources in the field, and they can push this out. But also, officers in the field can assign themselves. They can collect a call, and maybe they're freed up from an earlier call, they're available, they can respond. This helps reduce the bottleneck that we see inside that dispatch environment where they're overloaded and the team out in the field has to be reliant on the dispatch side pushing work to them. As work is assigned and it is collected, officers go through, complete the tasks, and the calls progress. Within Operations Center, we're generating data such as the reports and the work items, but also information that's useful for statistics and KPIs. Everything about the system is customizable for the users to represent their work. So their process, their language, and how they do the work and the statistics they concern themselves with can be represented back to their team. So within the system, as they do work, they can review maybe how much activity have they had, what types of work have they had, who's done them, how long has it taken them to complete. All of those relevant pieces of information are being generated within our system.
So Clint, one thing, you've mentioned, the incoming requests and the different stages and dispatching those, assigning resources. But as we all know, in recent years, the taxi industry has been quite revolutionized by posting requests out there, and the person that is closest to pick up the job picks it up, and we've seen massive efficiency gains. Is that something we could replicate in such an environment as well?
Yeah, with Operations Center, we let the team know what work is available. If it's sitting in a to-do column, they know that that work is sitting there and hasn't been touched yet. When they have visibility and they understand the status of work, it makes it easy for them to pull their own work down rather than being pushed outwards. With security, there's always a big bottleneck.
So we can actually transform, for certain types of work, a push system into a pull system where the person with the right qualifications that happens to be at the right point, place, and time can pick up the job very efficiently right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we can help allow people to get more productivity out of their daily work. And on that note, we just got a request for a new visitor. So Stefan, I'm going to assign this to you.
Sounds good.
You can go let them in.
Clint has updated this card and assigned Stefan. Well, I guess I got to take this one. So
see you
I'll
shortly.
See you in a minute.
So while Stefan goes to let our visitor in, a couple more aspects on our dispatching solution. The tasks that happen every day, the routine activities, such as a security patrol or a posting. In Operations Center, we also support that work where we would create a new category that represents the types of patrols. And within that, on a patrol, officers may need to check certain areas. They may need to perform activities, turning on lights, unlocking parts of the building. Those are all aspects that can be integrated into our system as checklists. This way, when a new patrol needs to occur, it can be assigned out to an officer that maybe hasn't done that work, but they know the steps they need to go through to complete it successfully. And within Operations Center, we support work that's reactive, alarms that come in, calls that come in for support, but also planned activities. So you can build a schedule inside Operations Center for a patrol that needs to happen every morning at 8 a.m. That patrol can be built, and now it pops up every morning and lets the team know there's new available work. And going back to the push-pull concept, an available officer can assign themselves to that call and go about the task without needing to be pushed out to the field. This also helps give statistics, the things that need to be done consistently, quarterly inspections, maybe annual trainings. Those are other tasks that the team may need to take. That can be scheduled and built into Operations Center. And as the teams progress time over time, now you can look back at the statistics and see, did we perform this consistently from one case to the next. Looks like our visitor's here, so let's say hello.
Hey, salut mon ami, ça va? Ça va bien toi? Oui, ça va. Bienvenue à Montréal. Merci beaucoup. Yeah. Merci. How was your trip to Vienna? It was good. I just came back actually. Oh, wait a moment. Your coffee, sir. It is not my coffee. I finished mine a long time ago. I thought so. Let me quickly report this to facilities using our Operations Center app. Are you using the Operations Center app? Of course I am. What else would I use for this? Let me take a picture so they know exactly what's going on, that we don't have a slip and fall here. Okay, wonderful. Laurent, we are actually in the middle of shooting a webinar for Operations Center. Okay. Do you think there's any chance I can pull you in so you would tell our audience how this all comes together with Security Center SaaS? That would be awesome. I think the timing is really good. I just came back from the R&D office over in Vienna. I have some exciting new things to show. Amazing. Let's do it.
Give me a few minutes, Stefan. I just need to get mic'd up very quickly.
Okay, I will practice my patience.
Welcome back.
All right, everybody. Let me introduce Monsieur Laurent Villeneuve. He's going to share with us how Operations Center fits into our unified SaaS strategy. So, Laurent, passing the ball to you.
Thank you, Stefan. Hi, Clint. Thanks for having me. I'm really thrilled about the release of Operations Center. As you already mentioned earlier, Operations Center is now part of our unified security as a service offering, and we are able to provide a single, cohesive, intuitive, very easy to deploy experience, all within our Security Center SaaS solution. So in case you're not yet familiar with Security Center SaaS, we've recently consolidated all of the cloud capabilities into one unified security solution. So not only are we building on top of many, many years of experience deploying video and access control as a service, but also we're introducing a portfolio of new cloud services, of new capabilities and user experience, as well as edge computing platforms. So this is the SaaS ecosystem. As you can see here, it's a combination of direct-to-cloud devices, for example, cameras and door controllers. We have managed appliances that push storage and processing to the edge. We have a brand new client application, right? We have web, mobile capabilities to really make that deployment and usage much easier. And also we can federate on-premise systems, right? So we have this complete hybrid continuum kind of capabilities with Security Center SaaS. So now Operations Center builds on top of that. It connects with Security Center SaaS, and every customer who has a Security Center SaaS premium subscription will gain access to work management capabilities. It's really built into the offering, right? So we have a native integration between the two products. We can initiate work requests from the unified security monitoring kind of experience, right? So also there's an integration with Security Center on-premise, as well as an API integration. So that's available for our customers to really kind of seamlessly connect with their existing infrastructure and operations and really make it work with what they're trying to achieve. So there's a lot of flexibility and adaptability into the end user operations and infrastructure. And another good way to look at this, as we can see here on the diagram, is a kind of operational flow, right? From left to right, as security teams grow their operations from the main security capabilities like video management and access control, the next layer we would add here are tools and features to help automate the security response to better manage critical incidents, right? And to respond faster. Then as more things happen and more devices are deployed and more people are involved, we need a better way to run investigations. We need a better way to find suspects faster. And that is when we may start thinking beyond core security operations. With all those things happening, how do we actually want to manage security work? So that is when Operations Center come in. That's really helping teams dispatch work requests, responding according to standard operating procedures, but also improving the way they manage assets and resources, right? So a lot more can be done from that point. We're unlocking collaboration with other teams as well. And we're unifying and standardizing things like system commissioning, general maintenance activities. So Operations Center really helps expand in a way that fits for the organization, what they want to assign, how they want to assign work to various teams. But most importantly, I think it empowers security teams, right? It empowers them to become so much more efficient, aware. It gives them new tools and ability to exchange information on all their projects and activities.
That's super exciting, Laurent. Thank you for sharing that. But when we were walking in, you did mention that you had a surprise for us, and I'm not going to let that one go. So we're here now. This is on you. What is it you have up your sleeve?
I did mention that. I did mention I was in Vienna, in the R&D office over in Vienna that is working on Operations Center. And props to the team there. They really pushed the boundaries here. They came up with an integration between Security Center SaaS and Operations Center. They gave me the keys and they tell me, you go out and show it to the team. And actually, we're here today. I can show it to the audience as well. So I brought my laptop here, if I may get started. And actually, I'll be able to show you the integration between Security Center SaaS and Operations Center.
Can't wait for that.
And Clint, I might need your assistance because we're going to go through an investigations management scenario. So
Okay.
I'm going to pass on the work request to you from Security Center SaaS.
Let's see it happen.
So now that I'm logged into Security Center SaaS, I have my unified monitoring kind of setup here, right? I see all my cameras and my doors, and something happens. So what's next? I need to start my investigation, but I'm still within the core security team, right? Their main operations. So one thing we can do with Security Center SaaS, as you might know, is use natural language to run a search. So for example, I can search for a red car yesterday morning between 8 and 10 a.m., right? So as I run that search and I click generate, I will be able to see all the thumbnails with red cars within that time frame. So that's a really good way to kind of trim down the initial identification of a suspect or a car or another event. And then the magic happens where I open up the video here, I right click on the video tile, and I initiate a work request. And that's where you come in, Clint.
Easy enough.
Let's say it could be a case manager within the investigations team.
Yeah. And so then in our investigations management board, we get a new request from Laurent, pops up, and lets our team know that there's a new request to investigate this event. Could have been a criminal event. It could have been an injury within Operations Center. We break that down and we give the guidance to the team based on the information that Laurent sent over. We're starting that process so the team knows now how to proceed forward. And just with a few clicks, makes it pretty easy. Now that we're talking about investigations, we're talking about a different type of work and potentially being done by a different team. That means that the Operations Center board is going to be different. On this board, we have a process where work begins on the left and progresses to the right through completion. With Operations Center, when we set the board up, we want it to represent the stages of the team's work. For investigations, we often see that there's a need to approve requests that come in before a case manager or an investigator or technician takes that and begins their work. With Operations Center, we have a new request from Laurent in Security Center SaaS. If we open this, we can see the information that he sent over from the Security Center SaaS system to our investigators. With this, the work is already categorized, so we know that this is potentially a criminal investigation. That type of investigation may have a complex list of tasks. Because Operations Center is designed to collaborate, we might have checklist activities for different individuals, such as a case manager and for an investigator. And those tasks actually may be matched and aligned to the stages of the process. So in the beginning, the work request needs to be reviewed. Do we have the actual information needed to begin? Is this something that we have the approval from the departments required? If so, maybe the security department approves this. With Operations Center, we can apply a tag. That lets the team know security has approved this. They can begin. Now this work item can be moved and assigned to a column that lets the investigators know when you're available, this can be taken and begin work on it. From that point, as work is progressing, we can go from one person to another with clear, clean handoffs. Everything that's been worked on and the information that's been collected inside of the system is visible to the team. So if we need to take work and transfer it from one person or one department to the next, they see all of the history, all of the information without a need of a long debrief or conversation about what has happened. This makes it easy to keep work progressing without the reliance on a single person owning and knowing the only thing that's happening. Within Operations Center, we want to talk about helping teams understand their work, understand the requests coming in, which may come in from internal groups. Security Center SaaS users may come in from other departments, may even come in from external sources. All of those different requests need to be understood. They need to go through the customer's business logic so they can approve or reject them as needed. This way the team works on the work that is approved and they're not wasting time or sitting idle. As they go through the process and information's collected inside the card, the same principles apply. When they need to generate a report, all the information is already contained within the card. They can generate reports that help them fulfill their need for their internal users and customers, but also maybe external requirements. So with this request from our OM, we can assign this to our team. So if I assign this to a case manager and an investigator, we've already marked this as it's approved to begin, so our team can go to work. As they go through the process, they may have files and documentations, police reports, witness statements. All of those files can be added into the card. This lets us contain all the information that's relevant with this work so that the team understands and has access to this. This also makes sense when they start having handoffs. It needs to go from the investigator back to a case manager, or we need to have a different department give an approval or maybe put hold on work. Those notes, those details can be added into the comments. Again, this makes that information visible to the entire team. And as they work through, we're tracking the process. The team can understand what is left in this stage. What's their next task they have to complete? This helps the team, again, be guided through their work. Within Operations Center, we can create relationships. This means that this investigation can be shown as being caused by something that happened with the dispatch team. This lets us show larger relations between different works, even across different teams. This means work that is started by one group may have an effect on other groups. If there's a missing child, if there's a suspicious vehicle or a break-in, it would be pretty typical to assume there might be an investigation that comes from that. But different groups doing those works become very challenging to document and understand how much time has been spent related to this actual activity. When we define relationships and we define links between cards in Operations Center, that lends to an organization having a better understanding of how their resources are being used in large. Not just for one group in the dispatching and understanding how long has it taken them to respond, but also how long has it taken our investigators to get information, to complete their tasks. And when we look at work like that, oftentimes there are third-party dependencies that block us from completing work. With Operations Center, where a card sits on a board starts generating time details, and we can track that information. That information can be put into reports or shown in dashboards so that now you can understand the efficiency of your process and of the team. We might be blocked on an investigation because we're trying to get a statement from a witness. That could be pretty common. But this might be something that is preventing your team from completing a task that otherwise maybe leadership doesn't know. With Operations Center, a big value of the system is in the data, showing the team how their processes are working, how efficient are they, where do they have bottlenecks in their handoff between their teams and even internal. With Operations Center, as people go through their work, we're generating the information and making that visible through the dashboard. Now, going from here, we'll jump into the system maintenance side. Not only does Operations Center support the team inside the SOC and their daily security operations, but also more the technical teams. So we want to go into our system commissioning and project tracking. With Operations Center, again, one of our unique aspects is the fact that we're designed and built to bring third-party organizations into the system so they can collaborate or even just have visibility. When we're talking about project management and commissioning of systems, typically there's a lot of different stakeholders that need to be kept up to date. There might be different groups that are involved in the projects, ranging from construction teams internally to contractors, our system integrator channel partners, but also consultants, technology vendors. It's a lot of people that need to have access to the information, and typically they're working in their own systems with very limited shared details. With Operations Center, we can support those projects and those teams, and we can bring all of those groups in. So now they all have visibility and they all have awareness on what's happening in real time. With something like this, we go back to a board with a process that goes left to right. But in this board, in this type of use case, the cards represent a project. And with that, we're going to generate different details. There's different relevant information. With this, information such as when do we plan on maybe starting the project? We're Genetec, we have specific details, so maybe we know now what tier that system's going to be. Maybe we even have a GSC ID number. We have the information that is relevant for people to know at a glance. But also, maybe we're also storing maps, permits, drawings, change orders. There's a lot of information that circulates around a project. Typically, that is contained in emails, in team chats, maybe it's in storage systems. It's dispersed, and oftentimes people end up working on old revisions or outdated details simply because they weren't present during the last meeting. With Operations Center, we want to increase that awareness, make it simpler for the teams to work together, but also help improve the process. With this type of outcome, our components for checklist can actually help define standards for how work is being done. This could be simple stages throughout the process, what has to be accomplished, but we can also dive deeper and go into configuring individual devices and tracking how every device comes to be. That allows partners to implement their standards for how servers are configured, for how cameras are installed. This way we can help drive improved consistency every time. And all of this information becomes contained within Operations Center. So now our end user customers have that data, they have that history. Within this type of a use case, our goal is to help streamline the process, to reduce the amount of emails and status updates and back and forth. When we have the different groups involved working together, it makes it easy to hand work off. Maybe we need to bring out a different technical team. We need to bring out different installers. That can be done, and we can accomplish that with sharing the system, bringing those teams in, and even assigning work to them. This whole system is designed to simplify, again, work that's already being done, but is being done across different systems with different teams. With our system, when the work is completed, again, we have a report that shows how it came to be, who did the work, when did they do it, and if we're defining standards, this is part of a checkoff process. All the details, all the relevant information has already been collected, and this makes it very simple to have a handoff at the end of the project saying, here's how this was installed. The more we help improve the consistency of installations, the greater result we'll see in reduction of go-back issues. Things that maybe should have been caught the first time that ended up being missed. Delays with contractors and other groups. We can track that. That might be information that we use as something to generate go-back charges or liquidated damages. With our system, where work sits on the board, the time values, all of that data can be used now by the project management team, by the construction team. They can look and see their estimates. Did they go over on hours? Are they blocked? Are there issues with shipping and other logistics that have caused multiple delays, even across different projects? When an organization starts working in this way and they start generating these types of data sets, they can understand and identify bottlenecks or pain points in their process. With Operations Center, our resources are also equipment. When we're talking about projects, there may be unique equipment or equipment that you only have a few instances of. We need to make sure that gets to the right project. So let's say we need to send out a specific truck to help with this deployment. With Operations Center, that can be a resource that gets assigned to a project. Now, our team can understand where their resources are, where their assets are. They can understand their availability, help determine, do we have the resources available now, or do we need to delay a deployment or delay a stage of the process? With Operations Center, when we're tracking the commissioning and onboarding of new systems, we're ensuring that the customer has the data about how their systems came to be. Who installed the system? Was it done to standards? And other relevant details, even about the specific devices. Going from there into a system that's now running, we're going to jump into our work ticketing system. Oh, looks like when Stefan went out to let Laurent in, we had an issue of, looks like somebody spilled coffee. So people using our mobile app can submit tickets and open requests for things they see day in, day out. Something as simple as a maintenance issue, that could be something a security guard generates and reports back to the team. So from here, we're going to let that go over to our service department. But with Operations Center, when we're talking about our work ticketing approach, we're looking at how can we help our customers understand the health of the system. Are their devices working? Are they doing their preventative maintenance? Are these tasks being fulfilled? And how quickly and easily do people know about issues? With Operations Center, as we've seen, we have integration with Security Center SaaS, but we also have integration to Security Center on-prem. This allows us to automate events. And for work ticketing, very easily we can think of ways to generate events when a device goes offline or if a server has an issue. Those are events that should be responded to as quickly as possible. Within Operations Center, those events can pop up, and the same principles apply of notifying the team that there's now new work, but also how they need to proceed with that work. With Operations Center, when we're looking at work ticketing, oftentimes we see a need for the end user to do the first steps of investigation. Maybe they need to check with their internal teams like IT and see, was there something changed on the network? Is there something happening inside the building, like testing the electrical system that brought the devices offline? That information is helpful for them to know about, rather than doing daily checks, looking at the system and trying to be more, let's say, delayed in their response. We can automate the process and tell the team of something to do when it happens. If the users have determined there is an issue and they need to bring their system integrator in, they can actually assign this task to them. As the channel partners and our system integrators can be a member of the customer's system, makes it very easy to engage them as needed. When they come into the work, again, they see everything that's already been done. They don't have to start back at zero. The unique aspect about this is that the end user has visibility to what's happening in their environment. Traditionally, from what we've seen, a lot of end users report an issue. And then when the work is resolved, they get a service ticket that shows what happened. The what aspect of the work, they don't have any details on. They don't know statuses. They don't understand typically if something has been responded to and it's being worked on. There might be delays and parts having to be ordered. We want to increase the visibility. Make sure that people understand what is happening and give better information back to the whole team. But this work is not just related to cameras and doors and other entities inside Security Center. With Operations Center, there's a lot of ways we can cover the other types of systems in their environment. Things like fire extinguishers, medical supplies. Security departments are often responsible for maintaining those, but also maybe even patrol vehicles and other assets the security department has. There might be routine inspections. They need to do maintenance cycles. These again are different types of work that can be planned inside Operations Center. And when that time for the next inspection comes up, the card appears on the board and we can assign the right resource, or someone on the team can take that work and go about completing it. All of this helps teams ensure that their systems are running the way they should be and that issues are being responded to as quickly as possible. And this can also be used from a dashboard perspective if we think about SLAs and response times. Information based on the type of work. We can show how long is it taken to acknowledge, to respond, to resolve. How many of these events, and also their history of the devices related to that work ticket. Understanding the history of the camera in the lobby, that might be more involved than someone thinks. There may be constant issues. Maybe the camera's been replaced. The issue persists. With Operations Center, we make it easy to understand the history of the work and how those resources are involved and related to it. This information being accessible to the team simplifies their task of supporting the organization's security. Understanding how many work tickets, how much downtime has the system had. Those are details that Operations Center can provide back to the customer. Now that we've looked at work ticketing, I want to back out and do a quick recap of the system. With Operations Center, again, we're focusing on the types of work that is already having to happen. The dispatching, the investigations that tend to follow. On the system side, bringing systems online, projects, and then work ticketing and system maintenance. With Operations Center, our system allows us to support these different types of work and more for different teams, but within one system. This improves the understanding of work for an organization when they can see and trace the relationship of things like cause and effect from one incident and all of the downstream events that came from that. The costs, the amount of work, all of the resource utilization. This becomes very interesting. Right now, typically this work is being done again across multiple systems. The amount of time it takes people to gather details from all the different systems and bring it together into a report, that is impactful. If we can bring Operations Center into an environment and help streamline these processes, we're also going to improve their ability to pull data back out and understand what's happening. Reports that happen daily, like shift reports, and understanding how many calls happened last night, how many tickets came in, even going into month to month or year over year reports and seeing trends. Operations Center allows an organization to dive into the details, to see how something was addressed, to understand the process. And over time, as they make adjustments in the system, they can see, did these adjustments have a positive return on investment? Did they have the right result? Operations Center is designed to help an entire organization with their daily work. So, with that, we're going to touch into the next topic.
From the start, BYU was an invaluable partner in the development of Operations Center. And at this point, I would really like to thank Steve Goodman, Nancy Hansen, Chad Beck, under the leadership of Chris Autry, and of course, the entire team behind them. And especially would also like to thank all of the students involved. If it weren't for your experience, your insight, often also your patience with us, and ultimately challenging us, we would not be here today. So I cannot express my gratitude enough. It's been a 5-year journey now since BYU started using Operations Center in production, since the first early prototype. And I just want to point out what kind of trust and confidence that was for BYU to really jump on something completely new like this. And we started just with one department, maybe around 15 people. And today, there are more than 10 departments across the campus working with Operations Center. That's more than 200 people logging into Operations Center and using Operations Center for all different kinds of things across the campus.
And from many different teams also, right?
Yeah, with that, we're working and supporting the security departments, which there's multiple different divisions across the campus. We're working with their parking enforcement. We're also working in their general administration, helping them with managing permit applications and other processes that day in, day out just involve how the students function on campus. And to your point, that information that we've been collecting with Operations Center and supporting the teams working across these different outcomes has been something that's just grown over time. As they've started using the system, they've trusted us to help support more and more uses. And we're grateful for that. It's been a wonderful experience working with the family of BYU, working with their different teams. And I'm excited to see where we keep going in the future.
And I think that growth is especially important, that Operations Center and Security Center, for instance, is really following their growth and scaling with their operation. And we're talking about a very large operation now, right? We're talking about 300 buildings and 738-acre campus, right? So a lot of teams collaborating. So with that unified platform, that unified approach, not only to security, but also work management, they're able to better respond to potential threats, better manage and dispatch. So all in all, a very inspiring case study, I think.
Absolutely. And so you don't just hear us talking about it. We've actually queued up a few voices from BYU we'd like to share with you now.
BYU has about 34,000 students, between 5,000 and 6,000 staff and faculty. It's on about 560 acres in the middle of Provo, Utah. We have about 25 sworn officers and then about 15 security supervisors. And then we have about 300 to 400 student employees who we put through a security academy.
Operations centers helped our productivity immensely, because what it's allowed us to do is that we've been able to keep track of officer locations, whereas before it was just kind of, you had to be listening over the radio and paying mental attention. Whereas with Operations Center, with its phone app, with its use on desktops, what was nice is that we were then able to start keeping track of our officers better, and they were able to keep track of where they needed to be and their fellow officers.
Another thing that has made it easier as well is that we can automate certain processes. So for example, every night in dispatch, we conduct code 4 checks with different divisions on campus. Beforehand, the dispatcher had to manually enter that call. They had to remember to do that on the hour and check with each individual division, whereas now it automatically creates that card a little bit before the hour, so then they can see, oh yeah, I need to do this. Same thing can be done for equipment checks, building inspections, any sort of process that can be automated. That really helps it be a lot more efficient.
For me, it's collaboration. The most important thing is the collaboration. Capturing the information, exchanging the information, sharing the information, and in a very secure way. And all the auditing and everything is in place to protect that information. We then start seeing other opportunities to use Operations Center. Is, oh, well, we could do it for this. We can use it for our training. We can do it for control of our inventory of equipment. And so it's kind of just taken off from there.
You can tailor make it to your department or your division's needs. And it depends on what you want to put in and what you want to be able to extract out of it. It's not just black and white. It's not just preset. You can make it what you want to make it.
I would say for me, the thing I like the most about Operations Center is how customizable it is. My goal has been to make Operations Center work first like CAD that we use for police dispatchers, but then make it even better than that. And to make it have all the documentation that we need for incident reporting.
I think anybody who uses it, the very first time they use it, they're going to find that it's something that would benefit their organization without a whole lot of front-end training, that they'll get the results that they need quickly and accurately. If it weren't for Genetec, I don't know what we would be doing to be able to track all of this information. And so to find a company that we were already working with, who we trusted, to be willing to build this sort of a database and software with us is like, it's unheard of. I've never experienced that before.
Operations Center is available today.
In English,
En français.
Nederlands.
En español.
Und natürlich Deutsch. So, what are you waiting for? Get on that journey to operational excellence today and become the smooth operator.